It was just like, my mom wasn't a healthy person to begin with. She had diabetes, high blood pressure. She had a lot of stuff. And then when the Alzheimer's kicked in, it was just like, my dad's the one taking care of her. And he never really took care. Like, she was the housekeeper. She was the person that took care of everybody. Um, so yeah, that she got really sick and passed away 20 days later on December 6th. And that was a big, big, big thing in my life because I was her only son, and I was really close to my mom. And even when she wanted us to like go to church and she would encourage us, we wouldn't like we. I would go. I was one of those, go to church on the holidays. That's what I became. I became one of those people that you go to on Easter and on Christmas and that twice a year basically, and that was kind of it. But when my mom passed away, which is in this house where I live at now, because I stay with my dad here now, um, we the one thing that did was not that me and my sisters were always been close. We always had a tight knit family. That's one thing my mom made sure of. But we spent the last couple of days with her here, and we were all here when she passed away that night. Because we were waiting for my niece to come and see my mom before we let them take her away. Um, So anyway, when the time came, like for us to basically bag her up and take her away, like I was the only one in the room from the immediate family. Like none of my sisters were in there, or my dad. Um, and my one cousin that was in there, he was like, "You sure you want to be in here?" And I was like, "Absolutely! Like this is my mom. Like of course I want to be in here." I closed the zipper, and we went to carry her out, and there was a couple of guys there. But then we quickly realized that the door frame was too small, so we all don't fit through there. So the only ones that were able to carry her out was literally the one guy that came from the coroner's office and myself. Like, so I literally, my mom was a heavy set woman, um, and we carried her out the house. And I again, I talk about that because as I look back now, at that moment, I didn't know. It's just like, this is my mom. This is what I got to do. But like, I'm not a strong guy. Like, I have an autoimmune disease that attacks my muscle tissues, and I'm not like super strong. But that day, I was able to do that, and I was like, I'm not gonna drop my mom. I'm not gonna drop my mom. But I look back at it, and that wasn't my strength. That wasn't my strength that lifted up my mom and carried her out the house. That was God and that was Jesus' strength, because there was no way that I would have been able to do that in my own strength. That's when I started reading the Bible. I've been, faithful going to that church. I've probably missed two services in a year, and the ones that I've missed, I've watched online. Um, I started to get more active, like as far as I go to a men's group once a week. I became a usher, um, and now I also go to a prayer group as well too. But as the journey started, I started to read, I started to pray more, and the more I did it, the hungrier I got, the more I wanted it. And 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 in the beginning I was still battling the corn addiction. It didn't go away right away. That's not how it worked for me anyway. Other people might be able to, but I was still in the midst of battling that. And now I'm battling, my mom passing away and me being separated from my wife and basically losing my whole family. Um, and that was probably, I felt a little bit like, oh my gosh, should I really be doing this? And it was like, yes, you have to do this, and because I didn't know. I'm like, it's a group of women and I'm sharing, talking about what I just talked with you guys. And it's like, whoa, what are they going to think? And at the end, what happened was one of the ladies, and they all kind of came, but one of the ladies specifically was like, thank you for sharing, because, we've been in this prayer group for a long time, but we don't know like what our men in this church are going through. And now that gives us something as women to really understand some of the struggles that you guys go through that we can pray for you guys for. And it blew my mind. It blew my mind. Um, so yeah, I mean, I say all this to say like whoever anybody's in the room, whatever your struggle may be, it may not even be the same struggle as mine, but whatever it is, Um, it's okay. We all go through our struggles. Um, but in order to get beyond, you have to talk about it. And you don't have to do it the way I did it. Like, that's not meant for everybody's not meant to share it the way I do. Everybody's not comfortable with that. But find that person that you are comfortable with, and share it with them. And that's how the healing process begins. Because you might think you're healing, but if you're holding it in, you're not healing. I want to be in Jesus's presence every day, every minute, every moment, regardless of who I'm with, where I'm at. I want to be in His presence, and that's all. That's my number one priority. You know, um, but it starts with the healing. It starts with the healing, and it can be a slow process, and you're gonna fall and you're gonna fail at times. You got to get back up and just keep doing it, and it'll happen eventually, as long as you believe and as long as you surrender and as long as you spend that time with Christ.